Hello, everyone. Before we get started on this week's episode, just a quick word that YouTube, in all its infinite wisdom, has decided that some of the Die Party games are now not suitable for advertising. It doesn't mean a whole lot for the content. I'm not going to censor the videos in any way, but if you'd like to lend your support so that Die Party can continue to grow, please check out the Patreon or subscribe on the Twitch channel. Enjoy the episode. Hey everyone. That never happened, so that was interesting. But we're back. We're gonna skip the introductions, I guess. But the reason why these two people aren't here, they'll probably join us later. That's pretty much all you need to know. Anyway, Wreckage, take it away.
Well then, also the internet cut out. Hi everybody.
Yeah.
Welcome to the least functional episode of LA at Night that I hope we'll ever put up. We only have 2 players. 2 of our players are late, but they will be here eventually. Maybe not in time to do anything with the show, but they'll be here eventually. In order to make up for this, this episode isn't non-canonical or anything. It's definitely canonical, but we're not going to go too deep into the whys and hows. More or less, we will follow Lily playing Maria and Dave playing Damien.
And to a greater extent, Gambit. Let's be real.
No, not even a little bit lately. When's the last time you even mentioned you had a fucking dog?
Last episode.
Yeah, you did. But the point is, we're just going to follow both of them on 2 very personal vignettes.
Vignette.
V for Vignette. How about each of you rolls a 1d10 to see who goes first?
Whoa.
Yeah, role-playing games.
How about a fucking 9?
Mm.
Big girthy 9 flopping on the table.
10.
2.
No, damn.
Slightly less girthy a 2 flopping on the table.
But it turns out it was low roll all along. No, I'm kidding.
Oh, fuck you. We're playing
totally.
Warhammer right now, where the rules are backwards except for one of them for some fucking reason. Anyway, yeah.
Yeah, glad I'm not playing that system anymore. Good show, terrible system.
Yeah, agreed.
How am I going to segue into this? Give me a moment.
Damien, you jump through a window while killing 4 dudes. What do you do?
Damien, you're in a street dying. The sun is coming up. What do you do?
I crawl to the sewers.
There's no sewers. It's LA. The streets are the sewers.
I become my own sewer.
You have always been your own sewer.
Damn.
Right. So, okay. Let's start with a recap. Last episode, we asked a lot of questions of an incorrectly resurrected ice cream man. And we learned some stuff about Kui Jin. Ultimately, we didn't find out who the traitor was. Nobody had a really good idea how to do it.
I had several, but...
So the traitor walks free. But, walks free, asterisk. We're obviously going to be on the lookout to see which one of these guys is actually the traitor.
Mm-hmm.
Maria in particular also, somewhat emotionally affected by incorrectly resurrecting this guy, and also he didn't want it. wasn't interested, and then killed himself, which vampires shouldn't really be able to accomplish. So a lot of questions raised there. Damien is having sort of a psychiatric break from reality, and is making copies of cassette recordings and
I forgot about that.
making and burying them in the fucking like backyard and underneath his toilet and like in the woods, and
Vampires don't need a party.
making fucking phone calls to random Chinese businesses demanding to speak to Snake Bitch.
Also a side of the dim sims.
Yeah, Damien's not having what I would call a good time. I wouldn't say that Damien is in a healthy place. I wouldn't say that he's expressing himself in a healthy way.
I would agree with
that. One of the things that he did is make a copy of this bizarre-ass recording and send it to his wife, his ex-wife, with no context. Refused to put context in it.
Yeah.
We're gonna get a scene here. Okay, first of all, Dave.
Yo.
Take the reins for a second and describe describe to me what your ex-wife looks like, and tell me also a little bit about her and your relationship, and why it failed.
So I'm gonna go with the stereotypical, straight out of Die Hard type marriage scenario.
Right.
You know, she had opportunities for a career. I was, you know, a police officer who had a workload and a beat. And that's not something that you could give up. So the relationship is indeed strained. It also made easier by the fact that Damien's is not exactly a romantic and sharing and emotional kind of guy. So it was healthier for her to leave, basically, you know, like that's what the relationship looked like. And she did. She left to not LA, I guess, or maybe outside LA, not LA proper, like Orange County. Is that like outside of LA, or is that outside of? I don't know where Orange County is, but I think it is. I think it's OC. Like,
right? I mean, that wouldn't be nearly far enough away to take a relationship apart. She would have to be way far away. Like that, people can make that commute. So,
yeah, but neither were willing. That's the trick right there, you know? Like it was kind of like, okay, I'm close enough to my parents where I could see them, but I don't have to. Las Vegas, perfect. That's a good one. I'll take that. Las Vegas is a good one.
Yeah, that is better. That's not something you can do in an hour.
Yeah.
Like that's
a plane ride. That's commitment. That's going home for something, you know, like
you can technically make that drive in a day, I think, but it would be a whole day of driving.
It's like 6 hours if my math is correct, because I remember I had a friend who drove there once. So.
Right.
Yeah.
So, business opportunity in Las Vegas. She so that was how you broke up. Did you physically describe her?
No, I was thinking more probably like I would imagine that she was like a lawyer type, maybe, or not some, and more like business lawyer more than like, you know, procedural or whatever lawyer. So dealing with like that's why she had an opportunity to go work for another like a big corporate company or whatever, you know, maybe even a
Sure.
casino or some shit. I don't know. It doesn't matter.
So
But
she's a lawyer.
yeah, and I imagine that she's probably like
Attorney
um,
at law.
yeah. So she's probably more um, uh, like probably just like an average looking woman in her late 30s. You know, like probably shortish, medium shortish hair, probably like brown, blonde, around
Sure.
that. Like you know, like think of a generic woman, and there you go. Like
All
she's
right.
she's not like a supermodel or nothing like that.
All right. What was her name?
Rebecca. That's the one name I've picked for her from the beginning. So yeah.
Rebecca is her first name. Now she obviously doesn't have your last name, right? Because ex-wife syndrome.
Mm-hmm.
So what is her last name? Her maiden name? Her made in China.
Probably Piet. No, that's too close to another character. I don't know. Soft, I guess.
Rebecca Soft. Okay, sure. Rebecca Soft. Damien Hard.
Holland. Come on.
uh, we get this scene. It is
You put me on the spot. That's what you get, man. That's what you get.
no, it's fine.
Give me this backstory for a character that you just fucking talked about maybe 3 times. It's like, okay.
Yep,
Shit.
nope, that's how it works. You think I put you on the spot? Just you wait. I'm about to put Lily on the spot in a big way.
Oh, damn. Let's do it.
So here's the scene. You remember? So you've got the Manila envelope with the cassette in it.
It's
To your ex-wife.
It's probably just like fucking dirty packaging thing. It's like, you know, she gets
A
all
newspaper.
these. No, she gets all
No,
these.
no, hold on. No, don't describe it. So you've got the package. It's like in newspaper or whatever. Or it's fucked up. The point is, you've got the envelope. And it's the 90s, right? So they still have all those blue mailboxes with a little curved top everywhere. U.S. Post is
Okay, that's very much an American thing, but sure.
Right.
I
Yeah,
had to
so-
think for a minute what you were talking about.
No, so it's like it's the middle of a street. It's L.A. Like it's a bustling night, right? It's like at the beginning of the night. We see you put the envelope, the package in the thing and close it. And we got the camera shot is from like across the street. Right. And we see some bustling, and then we see we think we're watching you because you're the only thing in focus. But as you like start to walk away from the shipping container,
Mm-hmm.
A bus pulls into frame. You know, the last bus into LA at night. The last bus into LA at night.
Oh my god!
And it turns out that's what's actually in focus. And the double doors of the bus open up, and off steps Rebecca Soft
Nice.
into frame, like coat all
Overnight
done
bag.
up.
Yep.
Yeah, like looks into her bag, like checks her makeup for a second. And then when the bus pulls away, she turns around, and of course you've already moved. You've already left, right? You know, it's that classic movie, Just Missed It. I had a totally different plan for tonight, but if Lily is willing, I want you to play Rebecca Soft.
Okay.
So I'm now going to communicate to you what me and Dave already talked about, so that you are aware of this character's motivation. If you'll recall, Damien, when he became sired, almost immediately tried to exploit his connection with the police department, and as a result got on the wrong side of some dirty cops and got pegged as like a traitor, someone who's flipping to gangs for some reason. Like there isn't even major organized crime in LA for him to to like flip to like a mafia family or anything like that. So it's like a really weird story. As Dave has just described, you are not on the best terms, but like your relationship fell apart because he was John McClane, right? Married to the job. Mm-hmm. You are a lawyer. You hear that your ex-husband betrayed the police force and is like being hunted down as a criminal. You know that that's bullshit. You also lived and worked in LA long enough to know that there are dirty cops in Los Angeles. So Rebecca Soft is here in LA because she knows that her ex-husband is not a dirty cop.
Right.
Like, there's no chance that that's the case. And, like, for all the other faults and anything else that might have gone on between you, which, by the way, now you're playing this character, so you have control. Like, feel free to say that things happened between you or how you feel about him or vice versa. Or, like, you know, you kicked my dog. I don't know what you want to, like, say. But, so you have control. Feel free to make this character your own now. Because it was never Dave's anyway. It was mine.
No, I'm fine with this. I mean...
So, whatever else may be true about your character, you know Dave isn't a dirty cop, which means he's probably being paid by other dirty cops. And, you know, I don't know exactly how you want to phrase your motivation here, but maybe that just doesn't sit right with you. Like, maybe, you know how much your ex-husband sacrificed for his job, and to have that taken away by other people, even if, you know, you don't have to still love him, you don't have to still care about him, but you're a lawyer, damn it, and it's World of Darkness too. So you're like you're a Phoenix Wright lawyer. You're one of those lawyers that's doing the investigations, even though you're not supposed to be.
Objection.
He's trying to say that you tampered with a dead body. Like...
I got results, damn it. I put a murderer behind bars, and that's all you need to know. And we can get into some of the weird shit that maybe you've experienced in Las Vegas, but for now, you have a lead. You're a lawyer, and so the first thing you did was, sort of discreetly reach out to other lawyers. Who remembers
Stephen Wolf? Good old Mr. Wolf. Oh yeah. He's working out of the back of a fucking pancake shop now.
What was the name of his business again?
Strange and something like that. It was weird. It was
No, it was like Scuzzy Steve's Discount Lawyer or something like that.
Something like that,
yeah.
Stephen Wolf.
So you know that this guy, he was followed up on by the police in this investigation, and you don't know why, because everything you know about him and his business suggests that, you know...
Right, like I probably had a case against him once, and I just mopped the floor with him.
I mean, you saw him come in with like a suit with holes in it.
Right, exactly. Like
and like really just trying to get like his client a slightly better deal.
Right, yeah. He's the kind of person, like, he walks in, I just look to my client and like, we'll be out of here before lunch.
Book a table at our favorite place.
Yeah.
Tell them
we will make that reservation.
Well, so all this guy, all this guy knows, right, is that a hotshot lawyer from Las Vegas wants to talk to him, right? Mm-hmm. So you got the in, and so you have a meeting with Steve, the scumbag Steve's Discount Lawyering or whatever it was. I should really look that up. Wasn't the episode named that or something? No, it was named something else.
I think it was, actually. Let me take a look-see. You keep doing what you're doing. I'll find it.
Right. So you've got some kind of arrangement to meet this guy? What do you want to tell me about it?
I probably wouldn't want to meet him like at his business. So like,
It's not
and probably to sell the whole thing, it's probably like, oh, meet me at this really nice like restaurant or something.
Right.
Like so he's all like, oh wow,
hotel bar of like the marquee or whatever, like, you know, like,
yeah, like some bar at a hotel or whatever.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, so he's all like, oh wow, we're meeting at a bar and we're gonna get drinks and talk about law or something. Like, this is gonna be great.
This is my big break. Obviously,
obviously they heard of my work.
Yeah, obviously Bartholomew, and Krunts over in Las Vegas. They want to hire me on.
Right, we want a satellite office in LA, and right.
Right, this is my big. They're finally recognizing the great work I've done in the
the great work of Stephen Wolf.
The great work I've done in the field of scamming people out of their money.
It's kind of funny too, because like we originally named this guy after a fucking SVU joke, like the guy that makes all the law and order stuff.
The producer from all those shows,
Dick Wolf. Yeah,
yeah, Dick Wolf. Executive producer Dick Wolf.
So yeah, you guys are going to meet in a nice restaurant in a hotel. Is it the hotel you're staying at?
No.
It's across the road. Right.
Got it. Hotels are frequently across the road from each other, so that's totally viable. So we'll say that this is the Marriott in LA that you are going to meet him at, and so you head over there, and like the immediate scene that you're encountered with, as you get off the bus and get there, is like a very poorly dressed, like slobbingly fat man being not allowed in, like, claiming and shouting that he has a dinner reservation with. It doesn't help that he's saying, like, one of the biggest lawyers in Las Vegas is me. Damn it, I'm Steve Wolf.
I think I just walk up to like the not someone gay. Who's the person, like the
bellhop? Like,
no, there's a person who like is the person.
Yeah.
Croyer or something like that. Like,
crap, I can't remember. The person that handles like seating, like the
right, the host, but there's this fancy French name for it.
Right, yeah. There's a fancy French word for it. Yeah, I just so like as Wolf is just like rah, rah, rah. Yeah, I just walk over to the person, just like, Wolf, quiet. And I just look at the guy and like, reservation for Miss Soft.
Yes, Miss Soft. I have a table for two.
Yes.
Will you be waiting for your? Are you waiting for someone? Should I tell them to expect someone?
I just look at Wolf, kind of like give like a little wrinkle in my nose, like, we're here.
And it's not garçon because that's waiter.
No, I'm looking it up. It's annoying me. It's annoying me.
Maitre d',
right? The boom, slam dunk. The maitre d' also, like, his face curls in revulsion at the thought, like, because you do look the part, right? You have this.
Yeah, I've got like my the pantsuit on or whatever. Like,
well, like, more importantly, you have that, like, the really nice business person coat.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like
that
the coat
air.
the coat that goes over your business suit, right? The one that's like, if it's a villain, right? Like, they walk in and they have that suit on and you're like, oh shit, that guy's super powerful and wealthy. Like, he's got the coat that goes on over a suit.
Right.
I mean, I own two of them, but like, whatever. Like,
well, you are basically a villain, Dave. Like,
look, man, I live in fucking Poland, okay? Like,
Right, like currently you live in Eastern Europe, but you also own a lot of mysterious beachfront property in Australia. Like, obviously, you're a supervillain. You don't sleep. You're probably a robot, right?
It's true.
Right. Obviously.
So, like, there's a moment where the maitre d' is like, you can tell he's considering being like, dress code violation or something like that, but you can tell that his revulsion at Steve is outweighed by the air of authority that you present. So he right this way. Although you notice that he does lead you to like
like
the table
or
the
side,
table
like,
where the rest of the people can't really see you. Like little bit.
It's not even close. We can't even see a window. Like
you pass several open tables for two on your way to the table that is hidden in the back.
Right.
It's and you know your server will be with you shortly. Specials this evening, wine from such and such year, and
I order I go on like a long thing about the exact wine that I want from their list.
Yeah. I want a Jack and Coke.
Will that be a shiver, sir, or do you want me to get out a Jack Daniels?
Sorry, we don't serve.
That's the same.
Excellent choice, madame.
I like how he's getting more and more stupid French every time he talks. Eventually he'll just be like...
He's not quite French, right? But he's some sort of ponce, right? Like, he's some amount of pomp and ponce. And so he bows and backs away. And then Steve's like, so what's up, hot stuff? Toots, dame.
Stop.
Well, I'm just trying to establish a friendly relationship with my new business partner.
We're not here to make her a whore.
A what?
And I think I just reach into my purse and I pull out a little picture of Damien. I just slide it forward towards him. And it's like, I heard you've been in contact with him.
Yeah, I remember this fuck. I mean, kinda. I don't remember him well. The whole night is kind of fuzzy. I think he broke into my place in the middle of the night. I don't know why. I don't remember what happened. Some stuff was missing the next day, but not like my important stuff. But also, like, I may or may not have had a piece of personal protection that was missing. You know, as an American, my Second Amendment right is to own and bear firearms.
I'm a lawyer. I know how laws work.
I am also, too, a lawyer. Speaking of us both being lawyers.
A lot of people can get pieces of paper. Mm-hmm.
Where did you get your law degree online at Ohio State?
University of American Samoa.
Well, the internet hasn't really been invented yet, so I can't really get an online degree, but there were plenty of mail-in things back in the 90s.
Reading a cereal box like, I could be a lawyer.
Send 17 proof of purchase.
So what's the deal? This guy your client or something? He's a big time criminal? And, am I
have an interest in finding him.
Okay, well,
any information you can give me that would lead me to that would see you rewarded.
Like his eyebrows wiggle. Like, all right, so what kind of reward?
You do like cash, don't you?
I hear that's what you peasantry use these days.
Cash, huh? Yeah. Cash. How much cash?
$24 and 34
Just look at my purse like, here.
You can treat yourself. So, you are a lawyer in a major city who like has had a major career shift upwards.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
I would consider yourself, for World of Darkness means, easily 4 dot resources.
Mhm.
So like money is definitely something you can throw around.
Yeah, yeah. I think I like.
But also you're a lawyer, so you're savvy enough to know that if you offer him too much, he might get the
Right.
wrong idea.
I think probably something like a couple grand. That
Yeah,
seems right.
yeah. So you
Like,
off,
Yeah.
yeah, like, wow. A couple grand for just information on this guy. Well, I mean,
Information that leads to me finding him. Yes.
no. Okay. Well, is this one of those things where I don't get the money until you find him?
I'm a respectable businesswoman. You'll get your money.
You can see a look of consternation on his face. You can tell that in the deep recesses of this man's think gland, the gears are rusted and straining. He's trying clearly to see. He's trying clearly to see in some way how he can spin this in his favor more so than it already is, or that like if something is wrong with this picture. There is some inkling here, a twinkle behind his eyes after hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of hours in court, not actually doing a good job, that some amount of common sense has rubbed off on him. And if only he could just ignite it, he might be able to use the, and then it's gone. He's like, okay, fine. So here's the deal. My establishment is not exactly on the up and up, as you may or may not be aware. The point is that I share renting accommodations with several other businesses in the same Irvwer.
Just speak English, please.
Other people that I live in my building are also shady. And they had some security cameras. Now, it was in my best interest to have the cops arrest the guy who broke into my establishment and retrieve my property for me. However, it was not in my best interest to tell them about these businesses and their security cameras. You understand what I'm saying? So I didn't. In other words, that is a piece of information that was not in the police report that you could perhaps leverage for finding this guy, seeing more about what happened on that night, that sort of thing.
I wouldn't be in the cameras at all.
Yeah, right. I know. Thank you. So
you want me to go? Are you telling me you want me to go to your place of business and speak to your neighbors and ask them for their security footage?
Look, you're a hotshot lawyer with a lot of money and clout. You're going to have to find some way to get those security tapes because I sure as hell can't. Unless I want to catch a bullet, you know what I'm saying?
All right.
Now, about that money.
I just reach down into my purse and hand him a check.
Walk off, dinner's on you, I guess.
He smells the check and then bites it like it's gold. Yeah, I know it's not how it works.
Yeah, she just she just downs the glass of wine, stands up, and is just eat, get whatever you want, and then I just leave.
Okay.
I stop and I leave my payment information, but I'm if it's, I'm only covering up to a certain amount.
$23 and
yes, madame, I understand.
Yeah, I leave. I leave.
Discretions. Yeah. It's sorry about your blah blah blah. I hope you'll visit. Anyway,
I leave him. I leave him a very nice tip. like our waiter slash staff.
Matron.
Like a very
How generous of you, madame. Very exceptional generosity, humility.
All right, yeah, I head out. Yeah, you think I have like lawyer friends that I could push their buttons to like?
I mean,
kinda put
you
some
live
pressure on
here,
those people?
so yeah.
So they are not necessarily your. I will say that you have basically, the other thing that your character sheet would have profession lawyer, which is like a merit, which you have all the professional contacts of that lawyer if you have a certain.
Mhm.
So as far as lawyers, like you were even able to contact this guy. So you certainly have the capacity to contact any lawyer at any level in Los Angeles.
Mhm.
I would say that you would probably only have a few that were close friends or like trustworthy in any way, shape, or form.
Yeah. Basically,
you would-
what I'm thinking is like I want to get some lawyers that can be like, hey, the tenants of this building, can you push some buttons and get me their camera footage? Like,
so the person that you would, so here's the rub. The person who could do that for you, like without any strings attached, is the district attorney, who you know. But the DA's office works very closely with the police, and you're here in town investigating the police for. Essentially, you're trying to do a personal investigation of police corruption. Who,
right.
like, I'm gonna. Well, you know what? Roll me a dice.
Okay.
Roll me a 1d10, and if it's a standard success for World of Darkness, if it gets a success, then the DA is a DA who. So in normal World of Darkness, in another state run by the Camarilla, it would never be allowed to happen. But the Anarchs have a light touch, and they don't really control the police. Like, they don't really control lawyers and businessmen. They are controlling the police. Anyway, what I'm saying is, if you succeed on this dice roll, the DA is actually against police corruption, at least as far as you know. That's a success. So the DA. So let me clarify this a little bit. The DA is publicly, outwardly against police corruption. You are smart enough and have been in the business long enough to know that plenty of DAs have run on, like, I'm going to reduce police corruption, while actively taking campaign contributions from the mafia. Like, so he at least is theoretically on your side. But you might want to play it a little close to the vest. So you can, like, he definitely has the power to do this.
Sure.
But how much do you tell
what I'm going to do?
Yeah.
What I'm going to do is go to the card I'm going to play is that I'm trying to find Damien for like some sort of like he has to sign something, or there's something with a divorce that didn't get finalized, or like there's like an alimony thing or something that like I'm like trying to get him on.
All right. Okay. So that's definitely a way to do it. So you use your secret emergency lawyers only contact line. That gets you in right away. And the district attorney will be named Steele. So District Attorney Steele's office.
I like how all the fucking lawyers in World of Darkness are fucking anime characters, you know?
Yeah, no. Lawyering's District Attorney Steele's office. District Attorney Steele speaking.
Steele, it's soft.
I'm enjoying this far more than you thought.
Miss Soft. It's been a long time since you've been in Los Angeles. I saw your work on the Hamilton case out in Vegas recently. Very impressive. What to what do I owe the pleasure of hearing from you this evening?
Well, I am calling in a favor that I am hoping I'll be able to get called in.
I don't specifically remember owing you a favor, but my ears are open.
Well, calling in a future favor.
A favor for a future favor that I'll owe you after some future event. Yeah, go on. I'm listening. Like you can also hear like it's late at night. He's still in his office. Like as he sort of toys with you in this conversation, you hear like ice moving in glass, right? So he's got a little snifter of
right,
like brandy or whatever. Like so, he's playing along.
Yeah. So I was formerly married.
I think I recall that.
Yes. Looks like he's trying to, I don't know, he's trying to weasel in on something. I'm probably jealous of what I've gotten in Vegas. So I need to settle some stuff with him, and he's playing hard to find.
Well, that might be on the count of your husband, Mr. Holland, is currently wanted, a wanted man in the eyes of the law. Are you aware of this, Miss Soft?
I was not.
So, here's my question to you. Are you trying to actually lie to him and make him think that you're not aware of that? Or are you trying to... Like, is this a two professionals talking past each other type thing? Because it's somewhat unlikely that you would be unaware of it.
Yeah, probably.
Given your position. So it's definitely something that... It's a lie that you could maybe get away with.
Right. No, yeah. It's...
So are you just sort of saying like I wasn't aware of that in a sort of like
this entire conversation is a very between the lines kind of thing.
Right. Well, so if that's sort of the way that you're talking, then he will pick up what you're putting down. He will smell what you're stepping in. He will, you know what I mean. It's just like so he'll come back with that's. Well, I'm sorry to be the bearer of bad news, Miss Soft, but considering that finding your husband has already been a priority of the Los Angeles Police Department and the District Attorney's Office, I'm not sure if there's anything I can do for you even as a favor, unless you had something in mind.
Well... If I could offer you a little lead, would you be able to let me see what you find before you hand it over to your associates in blue?
Like you can hear him sort of fumble with the receiver for a little while you're saying that. He said, "I'm sorry, Miss Soft, you sort of broke up a little bit there. Why don't we meet in person? My office is still open. It's at blah 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 ... which is downtown Los Angeles. I'm sure if you're in town, you're nearby. I'll see you blah 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 location time."
Of course.
And then he sort of like abruptly hangs up.
Nice.
So that
Tab
time
over.
Right. If we wanted to go really ham, it's like noir and it's like black and white, and we get the scene. We get the scene transitions and stuff.
I ain't seen this dame in 5 years.
She's nothing but legs.
That bum Holland did us all a favor by giving her up for the goods. Yeah.
The stuff that dreams are made of. So he basically says to like meet outside his office, which is, every city, for those of you unfortunate enough to not live near or in cities, has a particular assortment of buildings that are nearby that are not in fact office buildings, but are all the government buildings. At least one of which will be the courthouse, and probably also like the Capitol and like blah 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 blah. And there'll be these buildings clustered around, and also like the DMV. Anyway, so all of those things are all very nearby each other. So you're in the office park that is the government buildings. And there's this lovely little park. And you recognize Mr. Steele, like outside, smoking, since we're going for this noir angle. And he's smoking outside the thing, and he's like, and he starts like he sees you get out of the cab and like sort of nods over for you to follow him into the park, basically. Mm-hmm. And maybe not exactly at the same time, that sort of thing. But eventually, like, he's secluded under a single lamp in the park, and you're walking up to him, and he says, he drops his cigarette to the ground and stomps it out, but leaves it there because it's the 90s and we hadn't stopped littering yet.
Sure.
And it's World of Darkness.
Right. Oh, yeah, they never stop littering cigarette butts in the World of Darkness.
Right, yeah. If you mention recycling, you just get shot.
Recycling is the work of werewolves, right, and therefore cannot be abided by in a society controlled by vampires. That's actually true, by the way. So he sort of extends a hand to shake Miss Soft.
Steele?
I'll keep it short. I get that there's a little bit more going on here than you're saying. Your husband falls out of the good graces, and all of a sudden you're back in from Las Vegas with your hotshot job, and there's just no reason for you to be out here, really. You're a lawyer. You don't need help with a divorce. But this is a police corruption case, and I ran on that. And I certainly can't pass up on a possible lead. So here's what I can do. It's Friday. It's the weekend. Anything that you turn up or help me turn up doesn't have to be reported until Monday. That's what I can do for you.
All right.
Now, whatever you're trying to do, as soon as this starts, as soon as you hand over a piece of information, as soon as we start working together, that starts the clock, and the clock's set at Monday. If you don't think you can get it done by Monday, I suggest we pretend that we didn't have this conversation.
That should be fine.
He sort of takes out another cigarette, lights it, smokes it, offers you one.
Take it.
All right. He lights it for you. He sits down at a park bench, let you sit down with him. It's like, all right, what do you got for me?
In whatever part of town it was.
Exact address, exact time.
Yeah.
You've done your due diligence.
There's the main business is calls himself a lawyer.
We know about that lawyer, the one who maybe had a run-in with your husband but doesn't remember the details.
He did.
Well, so did he remember details that he didn't tell us?
Yes.
And
apparently, some of his co-tenants may have caught whoever paid him a visit on their cameras.
Cameras that weren't reported. I see the situation. So you it was a good thing that you came to me and didn't just go over there yourself. You could have gotten hurt. You need the footage on the cameras to see if your husband really did pay him a visit that night, and if so, was he accompanied by a bunch of gangsters or what have you? Yeah, I understand.
Mhm.
So here's what I can do. I can send a squad car down to with a warrant for the footage, and the whole processing of the footage will just so happen to take until Monday. Now, what I need from you is to I need you to be there. The police typically go through a chain of handing evidence into the evidence locker, then it makes its way to me, etc. But since I'm working a police corruption case, I currently have authority from a judge to have my people pick up evidence from squad cars. So I'll have a squad car go down there, pick up the evidence with the warrant. They'll hand the video off to you. You got to get that video back to me by Monday, or else I'm explaining why a piece of evidence that I had a warrant signed for by a judge to acquire is suddenly not in my possession. And that looks bad for everybody. And unfortunately, as somebody with a very promising political career, I'll have to throw someone under the bus. If you understand what I'm saying.
You got an extra evidence bag?
An extra one, huh? I mean, that sort of thing can be handled.
After I make sure it's all good, I'll need to put it back in something.
Sure, I can get you 2 bags. Don't even worry about it.
Sure.
He sort of puts the cigarette out at his feet and casually, off the record, you knew your husband. Not that any of this conversation has been on the record. You knew your husband. Was he a dirty cop?
I don't think so.
Interesting. I'm going to include another piece of evidence with that squad car. I want you to take a look at it. It seems pretty cut and dry to me. This is something that not necessarily has been made public, and I'm not sure what you've seen or had access to so far. But there are tapes of your husband turning. They seem pretty damning to me, but this whole case hasn't sat right with me since it started. Something doesn't quite add up. I want you to take a look at it, and you take a look at that security footage. And when you give me that security footage back, I want to hear what your opinion is then. All right?
Sure.
So he sort of puts a cigarette out, walks away. He gives you like be there at the place at like such and such time. That'll be when the squad car comes by. And you'll just pose as like one of his interns or whatever. Like,
yeah.
No, what is it called? What is it called when you're an intern at a law firm? It's not intern.
Paralegal.
Paralegal, right? That you're his paralegal, and that you're gonna pick it up for him and blah 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 blah.
Yeah.
In the case of the whole thing that got Dave thrown off the
It was when I was talking to that guy at the start, and I knew that I was being recorded by the voice stuff, right? Yeah.
Yeah, he had a wire on, so it is audio. When he says recording, he doesn't mean video. Otherwise, the police department would be scratching their heads about that time when 15 of their officers had a fight with a guy who's invisible on a camera.
Yeah.
Flash forward. You're there at the location. The squad car has gone in They knock on doors. There's flashlights. There's warrants being flashed. There's protesting. But the general pace of the conversation is basically like, yeah, you can't have my tapes, blah, 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 blah. I got rights, blah, 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 blah. I know you got a warrant. Fuck your warrant. I got a 45. They're doing business. They're doing criminal stuff, right? So they don't really want to give up their tapes. But at some point in the conversation, it's like clear that we only want the tapes for this night at this time. Mm-hmm. And like, there's a lull in the conversation where the guy's like, did I do any criminal stuff on that night at that time? And then it's like, no, wait, I didn't.
Hey, Vinny, we doing a criminal stuff on May 1st?
Nah, that was my sister's dance recital, you idiot.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I can give you those tapes.
She's got a lovely singing voice. Anyway.
She does.
She reminded me about it for months. That's how I know her off the top of my head right now.
Yeah, fuck. All right. Yeah, no, that's right. Sure, shit, fuck. You're going to have a tape, like, just for that day at that time, fine, whatever, no problem. And then, like, the tapes are procured without, like, significant incident.
By the way, Lil, we really need to do this fucking one shot where we voice just mooks forever. Like, I don't know what it is.
It's just a bunch of mooks.
We'll do the mook one shot next time, which we probably should have just done it this time, honestly, if I had remembered.
The day in the life of a mook.
The day in the life of some mooks.
Yo, Vinny, I'm seeing some strange shit here, mate.
Mook's big day out.
I'll put it right next to the Baby Palpatine Star Wars episode.
Have about Palpatine.
Palpatine.
So they acquire the tapes. I assume you step in and propose to be the paralegal who's picking.
Yeah. Like, oh, I'm from the DA's office. Ha ha ha. I'm just picking up these things. Ha ha ha. And then
of course, I understand. Not exactly sure why, ma'am, but he wanted me also to give you this other tape that we did not just procure from these people. It seems kind of weird, but who am I to? Oh no, 2 evidence bags. Don't know. Yeah, he said that too. Here you go. Have a lovely evening. This is a shaky part of town, ma'am. You got a safe ride home?
Yes, I'm fine. Thank you.
All right. Stay safe out there, etc.
All right, Lux, Nevada. Jesus fucking Christ.
Well, I have one absolutely, definitely a cop voice. Not all my cops talk like it, but when I need it to just be a cop.
AKA Lux, Nevada for 9 hours, right? Like,
yeah.
Yeah, I take it, and then it's like, oh, yes, of course, thank you, officer. And then I go back to the, walk around, go to the cab, head back to my hotel.
Right, hotel. And since it's the 90s, they all had VCRs.
Right, of course. So I, peel off the label, get it on the other evidence bag, prepare that one to be, sealed and everything, and then I pull out the tapes. Then I start checking them out. I guess overall, I probably see... So I would see the group, but not Damien.
Would you hear Damien?
No, because it wouldn't have audio at all.
Mm-hmm.
Because security cameras are just visual, and they're also especially in the 90s, they were low res, and they didn't take a full. They took snapshots every 10 seconds as opposed to a mini frames every second.
Yeah.
So you get if you remember those old caught on footage shows from back in the day, it was always. A moving picture show as opposed to so that's sort of what you're dealing with here.
So I would see the group and then a space for Damien.
Not quite. So you will basically just think it was a group sans Damien. So you're not going to get from this there's an invisible person on this.
Right.
I'm pretty sure I threatened the guy with violence when I was there. So maybe there's a scene of him being slammed against the wall without nothing happening and chalk it up to him overreacting or something.
Well, so the important thing is also this camera that somebody else owns didn't look into his living room, right?
Mm-hmm. Sure.
You're going to see people coming and going and the process of that, and so the additional information. So the lead that you're going to get from this, unless you can get more from it is that they 100% went there in a fucking cab. So you can get a license plate and a cab number and a day and a time. So what you can get from that is, of course, pick up and drop off.
Yeah.
And you can get both the cab ride there and the cab ride back. And if those two places line up, then you know exactly where they came from. Which, by the way, spoiler alert, you came and went from the taste. So,
takes a player character to actually do police work in World of Darkness, by the way. Like,
right. It also helps that in this case, we have a player character solving a mystery that the player characters already know the answer to.
I also love the idea that lawyers are the actual best police officers in World of Darkness.
In World of Darkness, they absolutely are, because police have been completely neutered to be ineffectual and incapable of doing anything. Whereas lawyers in most places are controlled by Ventru. And if lawyers are controlled by Ventru and they're being used, they want the lawyers to succeed. They don't want lawyers to fail. Now, there's plenty of corrupt lawyers.
Cool. So
there's also a dog with the group.
Also a dog. Great. Then what's the other piece of evidence or thing that they gave me?
I don't think we had Gambit back then.
The other piece of evidence is that he has a cassette tape for you that has basically the sting operation of Damien in the bar. This piece of evidence is going to be a little bit trickier for me because it's been a long fucking time, and I don't remember everything that transpired.
Basically, the overview was Damien sits down. He wanted to get a group map of gang-related activity in Los Angeles because he wanted to put together whether the gangs were actually, because he saw gangs at the grave thing that they did.
Right. He was trying to figure. You're trying to figure out basically how gangs were involved.
So I was trying to convince the man that I was in fact undercover and I couldn't do anything. I couldn't tell him anything. And then when I mentioned that I think that there is a leak within the LAPD, a mole, that's when the sting went down.
Right, because they were upset about the police corruption. So there's two things you can learn from this. Actually, there's a couple of things. One thing is that Damien took on an entire SWAT team and got away. The other thing is that they leapt in as soon as there was whisperings of police corruption, right? Like, so obviously there were some corrupt cops listening in, and that's why they didn't want the thing to go on any further. But the final thing that you get out of this is you have a special passive called Ex-Wife. And that special passive reads, when Damien lies, you know he's lying. And so from the recording, when he says, I've gone undercover with gangs, and that's why I want gang-related information in the city, and that's why I haven't been coming into work. It's like, you know, that's a stone-cold lie.
Yeah, just to me, I'm just like sitting there listening like a tape, like, bullshit.
Yeah. So, but then why does he want gang-related information?
It's a mystery.
I mean, it's not like it would help further gang activity. It's not like I fell into gangs or nothing, right? So,
right, yeah, which is, yeah, it's like, would have like, why the hell is he doing this?
It's right. Like, so the thing that you would probably come to a conclusion is that he's requesting information because he doesn't trust sources within the LAPD to give him the actual information.
Basically, you end up where you kind of, your biases already were, which is my ex-husband has been framed for police corruption because he was going after police corruption. Like, that's sort of...
Yeah.
That's
then
sort of like...
Then I also have an address now.
And you have an address, which appears to just be a coffee shop.
Yeah, like
a coffee shop. A coffee shop that's only open at night. In downtown LA.
They get their whole
what's
aesthetic.
So what is the chances of her running into me there?
None, because this is literally the night that you said you didn't go to the taste.
Yeah.
But don't worry, we're going to get everybody involved in tonight.
I was hoping for something to do.
But first, Miss Soft, how are you going to follow up on this lead of an address?
I'm just gonna go there.
Perfect. So another cab ride. Now we're talking like at this point in the evening, you rode in on the last bus into town at like 10 p.m. It's now like 2 a.m.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever. You've pulled all-nighters. You're a lawyer. And as with every business and profession, everybody's always pulling all-nighters in movies. It's part of the stereotype and the cliche. It's the only way that any work gets done.
Right. Obviously, sleep works on like a system where you can just like let us stack up for a while, and then like in like 5 days I can have no sleep. Out of sleep for a day, and I'll be fine.
Right.
That's exactly how it works, by the way.
That's how sleep works. Yeah.
And the true conspiracy is that Hollywood is brainwashing American citizens into believing that work is the only thing of any virtue, and teaching them not to sleep. Which is why everyone always pulls all-nighters in every movie to get anything done. Anyway, so you're definitely capable of committing.
So anyway, thanks to Hollywood.
You're capable of having an all-nighter just fine. So you show up at the Taste. What a lovely little, even for you, this is just sort of a lovely little place. It definitely reeks of sort of, I want to say like an air of intellectualism, right? Like it doesn't come off as pretentious. It doesn't have like slam poetry like happening. There isn't even a stage, right? There's
like an actual it's not trying to be, it just is.
Right. It's just you see all of these erudite people from all these walks of life just sort of sipping and enjoying coffee. And as you come
definitely like a locally kind of place.
And as you come in, a very lovely woman who looks like she's straight out of the 60s, which is like is perhaps the most cliched thing that you've seen.
Turn off my echo just a second.
I once ordered 2 kilos of 2 kilos of butter for Sputnik using just my voice over the internet. So.
It's such a fucking I don't know why anyone would buy one. Like, no offense, Lily. Like, I was at New Year's Eve recently, and I spent New Year's at a friend's family's place, and they invited a bunch of friends, and they're fairly well off. They're a nice little family, so they had an Amazon thing, and like people were using it to play music, and it was just constantly getting in the fucking way because it kept triggering when it wasn't supposed to, and like I also felt like I couldn't. Like, I'm not necessarily paranoid or anything, but I didn't feel like comfortable talking politics around the Amazon Echo. Like, I was like, what if I say something about a president or something and nobody, anyway.
Well, it was New Year's Eve. I'm sure the FBI guys were taking the night off too.
Right. I mean, obviously.
Right.
And at the NSA and all of that.
Yeah. They're at the New Year's party.
Also, that was the thing that really pissed me off. Like, the whole point of it is to be like, Alexa, play such and such song. Woo! Like, and every time we did that, they were like, here's a preview of such and such song that lasted for 2 seconds because
did they not have any music stuff set up to it?
They did have
guys.
Anyway.
Sorry.
Look.
Guys.
Sorry.
Anyway, speaking of Alexa, hi, welcome to the Taste. How can I take your order? Can I take your coat? Like, have a seat.
Oh, sure. Thank you.
Do you want to be a vampire?
We specialize in several different brews of like blah 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 blah. And like, I wish we had established stats for you, but instead we'll just roll a single D10 again. Okay. Which I think is fine.
Yeah, I'll get like a fancy latte or something, and then
Wow. Okay. So that is an exploding success, a critical success, we'll say, in this little one shot that we're doing.
Even.
Yeah. In this little one shot that we're doing. At some point in the conversation, now you're there trying to figure out what's going on, and this place.
Ma'am, you seem to have fangs.
No, not quite. but also not too far off that either. At some point in the conversation, and you're very aware of your surroundings and what the people around you are doing, because more so than usual, like you're coming in and you're expecting this to be some sort of, like, he was there with a group of weird people and it looked an awful lot like a gang. So you were expecting this to be some sort of gang place. Like, even if he hadn't actually joined a gang, maybe some sort of vigilante thing. Like, you're expecting something off to be about this place. So as you're here, your senses are on heightened alert.
So
and as you're having,
can we clarify something real quickly? How much of my work, now this is something that we could come up together, but how much of my work was Rebecca aware of? Like, do you think I would have brought stuff home and told her about it, like confided in her about this sort of stuff?
Rebecca was a lawyer in the same city that you were a police officer.
Yeah, but
so
she was a
usually,
business lawyer, but not a, like there'd be that
right,
degree
but
of
what I'm
separation.
saying is that usually, like, a police officer wouldn't come home and talk cases with his or her wife. But in this context, Rebecca is probably tangentially aware of a lot of the things that happen anyway.
Mm-hmm.
So there was probably a lot of, how's the case with so-and-so going? And you'd be like, fucking just dead end.
Yeah. Well, and then probably the same thing too. Like I would come home and like, oh, aren't you on a thing with Goldman Sachs or whatever, or something, businesses?
Yeah,
Goldman's Sachs?
Goldman Sachs? Ah, yes, Goldman Sachs.
Look, just because I'm a woman doesn't mean I need to sleep my way to the top. We've had this conversation before. Throw a pot. Get out. Anyway, as you're having this conversation,
is that my other passive? I can just pull pots out of nowhere.
You can break a teapot against any surface at any time. How can you abuse this power?
It's a dope power, actually.
So as you're having this conversation, you're unusually aware of your surroundings. So you're trying to do that thing where you're like looking out of the corner of your eyes and being aware of something. And basically, you're not sure when, but as she's listing specials and taking your order, you say something wrong, and everybody in the cafe goes on edge. But you're not sure. Like, you just order a coffee or something. And, it's not necessarily that, like, everybody puts their hand on a pistol or anything. But, like, almost in unison, everybody shifts.
You guys don't have Bloody Marys, do you?
There's a very erudite businessman-looking person who's reading a newspaper. And as you say this thing, like, he just sort of, like, his newspaper ruffles a little bit and he switches which leg he has crossed, right? Like, everybody does
a thing,
like a little bit of a thing. Right. And most noticeably, your waitress, your hostess sort of goes from like, yeah, please take a seat, whatever. It's like, I'm going to get your order, and like goes and like leaves like immediately. And as she leaves, almost immediately, somebody else sits down across from you. And it's a tall, lanky guy with a weird haircut. And he's like, "Hi, I'm Rodney."
Oh,
We've come full circle.
That's where we'll cut for our break, and when we come back, Dave will play.
Cool. Many thanks to our Patreon supporters for this week's episode. Head on over to patreon.com/Henley to support the growth of Die Party.
So let me just take everybody on this journey here with me. My intention at the start of the episode, because you may recall that we sort of rolled for initiative, was to have Damien go first, and then do Lily. as Maria. And then the opportunity came to me like a flash. The idea to have Lily play the NPC that's important to Damien, and in the moment, and see what happens. And I like that a lot. I have been trying, as I've been running the game, to think of an NPC that's important to Maria that Dave could play.
Mm-hmm.
And I have not succeeded. I don't think there is one, at least, that I would be comfortable giving the reins to Dave. Because
My dad, maybe?
Well, as far as NPCs that we've actually named for your backstory when we've just talked, either they know stuff that we would want the PCs to be unaware of them knowing, or there just really isn't anything interesting going on there.
Sure.
So as much as I would love to turn this episode into a beautiful symmetry, we will instead just follow Damien.
Sure.
So, Dave,
Mm-hmm.
Damien,
Mm-hmm.
we pick up with you delivering the taped cassette to the mail. We get the same scene from before, only this time from the other side of the street, and we see you mail the package. And as you're doing it, the bus pulls in, and we follow you walking away before the bus pulls away, revealing, of course, your ex-wife in the background, as the audience knows. You have made several copies of these cassettes, and you've also made several threatening phone calls, and those things haven't panned out.
Mm-hmm. So I'm going to be 100% crystal clear here. My main motivation for doing this is because I'm interested in learning how Icy, a.k.a. the Ice Cream Man, managed to kill himself.
Well, he sort of made that clear at the time. What
Yes.
who are you hoping to, what more are you hoping to learn?
Ancient Chinese mystical voodoo that will allow me to attempt the same thing.
So you want to learn enough self-control, and you're thinking, well, obviously, if this guy's martial arts were good enough to give him that level of discipline.
Let's
and
be 100% clear here. Damien wasn't in the room when that explanation was given. He saw the
thinks it's
results.
magic.
He saw the results, right? And he knows vampires can do magic. So it's 2 and 2 together, and he's following that lead.
Right. So you're just trying to contact or interact with the Kui Jin in some way.
Pretty much, yeah.
Interesting.
Because, in case the chat hadn't picked this up yet, Damien's not exactly liking his new undead life, to the point where he has become reckless and uncaring of the results
of his actions.
To the point where he's even, he was offered in the previous episode a chance to go back to do police work, and that's just not going to be enough anymore. So that's where he's at. And sending that tape off was mostly more of a, if I'm going to go, the world will know about the fucking disgusting nature of what's actually happening here, even if it doesn't make sense.
Well, to some extent, you were also very deeply concerned about the apocalypse.
That too, yes. And I, lack of a better understanding, the only other method of working out what the apocalypse was is to go to the source.
Right. Speaking of, if you suspect that mystical Chinese bullshit is responsible for him being able to quell his beast, then I think you have a lead that you can follow up that you haven't thought of yet.
You mean the old man?
Yeah.
The priest?
Yeah, well, maybe. Something like that.
The guy that he was talking to, or he did the ritual with?
Yeah. You have his address. Is the point? You can just go there.
In fact, I will. That sounds like a good one. I completely forgotten about him, to be honest with you. So thank you for that.
Right. So yeah, you mail that envelope, and then you decide I'm heading off to like Chinatown, and I'm gonna figure this shit out.
Yeah, I go on an adventure with my dog.
You take your dog. We will treat this with the same sort of brevity and like side story.
Expediency, yeah.
Yeah, as we've treated the soft story. So like you're there. No obstacles, no hoops to jump through. It's the same sort of like knick-knack, weird like herbal remedies, monkey's paw type bullshit like shop that it was last time. Except this time, there's not a big street fair going on. There isn't any sort of fanfare. They don't there's no closed sign on the shop because there aren't a bunch of people walking around who wouldn't know the hours normally.
Yep. All right. So
what do you do?
I mean, I try the door. Does it open?
No, it is locked, but
I potence the door so it breaks the lock on the door. I'm assuming it's not like a fucking...
Yeah, it's not. It's you can get in. The only question is, are you going to be forceful about it? And the answer is yes.
Yeah, I'll break the lock. Yeah.
All
right.
As I
said, no. He has no problems doing these things now. He's beyond this.
Right.
Shit,
so you're now inside this business establishment. You did make some amount of noise. You hear like a television upstairs, and you also very clearly hear like fumbling, and it's one of those houses where you can hear every single footstep of somebody upstairs.
Yep.
Like, so this guy's like fumbling around, and there's some drawers and stuff. Like he heard you come in.
Yep. So what did I get a name of this guy?
No, I don't think he was ever named.
He's like, priest, we're gonna have some fucking words if you come down here.
You hear the movement, and then you hear the movement stop upstairs. There's no further movement or response vocally to what you said.
I'll take that as a yes. I'm gonna come up now. And I'll start walking up the stairs, I guess.
All right. I'm gonna need you to make a roll.
Sure.
And you have character stats, so we can actually do a roll.
Yay.
This is going to be an initiative roll, but you're not going into combat. Well, you don't have to go into combat.
So that's just so I remember, dexterity and wits.
Right.
Added to a D10, right?
Added to a D10. So
1D10 plus 4, I believe mine is.
Right.
How's a 5 do you, wreckage?
How's a critical 1 do me?
I thought you said the only time it doesn't matter is on...
You're right. But it is the lowest possible roll you could make, is my point. Like, it's not a magical critical 1.
Well, if he gets a 1 and he only has a +2, technically.
Right. So as you come upstairs, it's also the type of house where you can hear, like, every step up the stairs. And you've already been downstairs where there's some weird shrine. But upstairs is like a little mini apartment where the guy lives, right? Like, and that's why there's a TV and a fan and all this other stuff. The accoutrement of creature comforts. Anyway, there aren't like doors. There are just sort of the doorways. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So just as you sort of turn around to enter in upstairs, you get blasted by a double barrel shotgun, like full on. I need you to try and soak this damage.
Sure.
So please roll your stamina dice.
Okay, yeah.
All right, so you soak 1 damage. So you will fill with bashing and get 2 lethal.
Mm-hmm. Which one's bashing again?
Just the half slash, like that.
Okay.
So what'll happen is these
Yeah, I
2 will be X's.
Yep.
Now, you certainly have the capacity to go into combat at this point, but also you can see clearly that there is just a frail old Chinese man with a rusted old double-barrel shotgun who blasted you and doesn't have another shot, like ready to go. He's like fumbling, trying to reload.
I'm just
'Cause,
gonna walk over,
you
grab
didn't-
the gun out of his hands, if possible.
Oh yeah, you can't. He can't even stop you. Like he
and
doesn't
then
have
I
the
sort of
capacity.
look at him. Is there a way that I could just sort of like bend the barrel of the shotgun up?
100%.
Yeah, and I
Use,
just toss it to the side.
Right. Yeah.
Maybe is there an open chair I can sit down in?
There's a couch.
Yeah, I make myself comfortable. It's like,
So he yells at you in Chinese. And I'm not going to
yeah, I know the generic sort of thing, right?
I'm not going to attempt to recreate it because it'll definitely verge on the offensive.
Yeah. We can all imagine it. We have
Right.
imaginations. We're all adults.
Imagine here, put this into your mind. Imagine Jackie Chan's uncle yelling at him
Mm-hmm.
only in Chinese.
Sit the fuck down. Let's talk. I'm not gonna hurt you.
I do not want to talk to you.
Well, that's the probably one of the only bonuses I get about being undead is I don't give a fuck what you want.
It's a Western monster demon.
So
He sort of mumbles to himself, but like he also has been completely beaten, so he's sort of just not. He's quaking in his slippers. Like
so you helped one man with the Kuigen, and now you're going to help another.
I do not know anything about the Kui Jin.
It's not about what you know. I'm falling into your accent now. Fucking hell. It's not about what you fucking know. It's about what you can do for me. You see, your friend, he was killed by the Kuigen for knowing what he knew.
The man has a somber moment, but also sort of like you get the impression that he has this somber moment. He does some sort of like prayer type thing very briefly. But
I'll let him do his, whatever.
It's very, very brief. It's almost like it's almost the equivalent of like a Christian, making the sign of the cross. Like that's it, right?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But like you also get the very strong impression that he's not too beat up about it, or like maybe he'd come to terms with that sort of inevitability already.
Mm-hmm.
That's more or less what you get the impression of.
So, unfortunately, my bedside fellows had another means to bring him back. And they did that. And it's not something that I entirely agree with. This is why I'm here by myself and not with the people that were with me the other night.
Yeah, I do not know what you want of me or where this is going.
You see, when you become undead, it's not just you inside your body. I don't know why I'm talking like this. It's not just yourself inside your own fucking body, you see. There's something else, and I don't like it. Your friend
You are possessed by a demon.
Your friend was able to kill that beast. I want to know how.
I do not know anything about what you are talking about. How could I possibly... I do not know what thing is inside you. I do not know how he killed it. I don't know how any of it happened. I don't know what you want from
me. He turned to fucking stone, and then he crumbled away like it was nothing.
Well, he had many ancient teachings and arts scribed into his body. I do not.
Guess what? I have all the fucking time in the world now.
Well, that's fucking great for you. But
It's reversed.
it's fucking great for you. But you do not understand. I do not know anything either. He came to me because I know some things about. It's very complicated. I know a couple
Well, then let's
of
make
things.
it fucking easy then. All you need to do is you remember the leader of the Kuigen? Tell me where to find her. And I'll
I
leave you
don't
alone.
know the Kui Jin. I do not know anything about them.
Well, you better fucking find it because I'm not leaving you alone until you do.
Well, too fucking bad then. I guess you're my new roommate. I do not associate. Why do you think he came to me? If I associated with the Kui Jin, he would not be safe.
And then you know how to find them. You know people who openly fight against them.
No, there's nobody who does that. At the very best, I am a shaman who is a shaman who is not associated with them, and that is not typical. You are. I will use a metaphor.
I do the following things. I look at him and I say, you will do what I fucking ask.
You cannot
Or
intimidate
you'll need
me.
to make peace with your god and I will take you to see him.
I don't have a god, and you cannot intimidate me into doing something I can't do. You don't understand. I will use a metaphor that an American will understand. You are coming to me and you are asking, "Oh, you are a French person, huh? And you are living."
Activate my fourth dot obtenebration.
Why?
Because as part of it, mortals get irrevocably mentally scarred from
Okay,
seeing
so you
these things.
will literally make him uninteractable with.
That's fine, because I'm going to take him and I'm going to parade him around Chinatown until I find the people I want to talk to.
It's not going to work, Dave. You don't get it. He's not a revolutionary. He's not a bad guy. He's just unaffiliated.
Then
So,
where the fuck
and he's
did he
trying
go
to
to
explain
him?
because he's unaffiliated.
Okay.
He doesn't need to be their enemy to be unaffiliated.
See, I was thinking that these guys were super hyper, all about protecting their interests. Like maybe they had a masquerade of their own, which was different, named from ours.
No, they have the exact opposite. Everybody knows about them. They know they exist, but not everybody works for them. That's sort of how it works. Like it's more like they're the elite. Like
Alright,
it's
so
so
the
think
old
of like,
man in front of me who's immortal holds all the fucking cards in this situation.
well, no, he doesn't hold all the cards. He literally has none of the cards. You're asking him for things he can't do. Now you need to ask the right questions because he does have some information, but you can't force him to bring you to the terminus that you're hoping for here. This guy is trying to make a metaphor, for example, that you keep interrupting. But the gist of the metaphor is like he is just a French villager in World War II occupied France, right? He is not a member of the French resistance. So just a French villager doesn't know a whole bunch about the Nazi regime because they're not a member of the resistance. There also isn't a resistance necessarily.
So why am I here then?
You're here because he knows things you don't know.
Well, apparently he doesn't. He only knows.
Well, no, you're trying to ask. So, as an example, Soft went through a series of steps that got her to the taste. You're trying to get him to bring you straight to the taste. He doesn't bring you straight to the taste because he doesn't have that information. So you're saying, I want to talk to the leader of the Kui Jin, make it happen. And he's like, I can't.
Then what can you do for me?
This is what that day. Right. Okay. Well, help me to understand what it is that you want. You say, this man who came to me, we had the business arrangement. He was able to cure himself of your demon. I don't understand the specifics. What is it you want?
If I put a gun to my own head and pull the trigger, I won't be able to. I need you to understand that.
You want to die?
I did not choose this life. Well,
Interesting.
unlife.
You Westerners are very...
And your friend found the secret of getting there.
Well, it sounds like he would know the answers. But
He's
of course
dead.
He is dead. Yes. All right. Okay. I want you out of my shop. You want to die. These are not mutually exclusive goals. All right. So, you can't die and you want to die. And that's, you think his perhaps the arts that he knew or the secrets that he had let him kill himself, basically, yes? Well, I tell you one thing for sure. The first thing is that you Westerners, you have a great aversion to honorable death. I'm not going to pretend like I'm all ready to die or anything, but he came from a noble line of warriors, great training, many years, very prepared for death they are. It's perhaps that you just aren't ready to die. Have you thought of that?
Don't be fucking stupid.
Okay, well, I know things about, it's not feng shui. I mean, that's what Westerners have called it, and that is, there are books and they say feng shui on them, and they kind of are like that. But the true, actual, mystical feng shui that has real, actual power and not just makes rooms feel nicer, huh? You understand?
No, get to the fucking point.
He came to me because he needed to keep that relic intact, and it is a very fragile piece of thing that needed to be re-energized, so to speak, in order to maintain itself. So that's why he comes to me. And you come to me because I'm the only other person that you know that knows anything about any of this, but wasn't a bad guy. Huh? Am I so far so right?
But apparently, if what you're telling me is correct, you don't know shit.
Okay, fair. I don't know the exact thing you want. I don't know how to contact the Kuijin, but also, I don't think that the Kuijin have the answers you're looking for either. The Kuijin, they don't die either, I guess is what I like, at least what I've heard, and maybe they don't talk about it, but they don't go around dying easy or okay, and they just die also. And they don't think they are the same thing as you either, huh? At least they claim not to be. They say you are different. So I don't think they have the answers you seek, which means the answers you seek are actually in that man and what he was capable of. And that is, that is just left of Kuijin. You know what I'm saying? There are other people who know these things. What you are looking for, what you want to find, is other shamans who have skills more in line with him, or perhaps martial artists or warriors. And
how fucking deep does this stupid rabbit hole of yours go?
You want to die and you don't know how, but somehow he killed himself when he became one of you. Yeah?
You got a shaman who can do this.
Find out how to kill you. I think I can do this. I think we can start on that path, and that you can die. I think that is something that I can help with.
Well, I lean back in the chair and was like, get to it.
I will work off of a basic assumption. You know, the Kuijin, they say that that you Westerns, are possessive demons. So I will assume that some form of exorcism will work. And maybe you say there's something else in you. It doesn't let you kill yourself. Maybe exorcism gets rid of that, and you can do it. So we pursue that, and I am not myself an exorcist, but I can get you to one. And they can try an exorcism and see if it works.
All right. Something I'm willing to try.
All right. You are a creature of night. I would say, hey, please come back in the morning. We do this tomorrow, but I assume that doesn't fly. So instead, well, let me make phone call.
I'll lean back in the chair, put my feet up on the bench, coffee table.
Right. So he's gonna make a phone call, and the conversation is gonna be carried out in Chinese.
It's fine. I'm gonna spend blood to heal myself.
All right, no problem.
I assume just heal the lethal and then the bashing will go away at the end of the scene?
Right. So you only need to heal the 2.
Okay.
Scene's already passed. Like the bashing, like the scene that would be relevant for bashing has already quote unquote passed.
Got it. Let's fix everything then.
So, he has the conversation in Chinese. And then sort of he hangs up the phone and he goes into his room and like changes out of his bathrobe and slippers and sort of puts on his I'm an old Chinese guy who's going to go out in the cold outfit, if you can imagine that.
Mm-hmm. Pon.
Yeah, that sort of thing. And he's like, all right. So we go. We meet my friend who is exorcism specialist. That actually, really good, really works. Not a scam. Many scams here in Chinatown. Many things claiming mystical, etc. And I sell some of it. I sell some stuff that doesn't work. You do what you got to do to pay the bills here in America, Land of the free, home of the brave, streets paved with gold. Ha 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 ha.
You sound like some of the prostitutes I used to bring in.
He just blinks at you. Right then. Okay, so we go. Yeah. You pay for cab.
Sure.
We go to edge of Chinatown. We go to how you say docks.
Is this the same fucking building that we assaulted?
No, it's not.
It's across the road, though.
It's nearby. All this stuff that Chinatown isn't, like, it's bigger because it's in a narrative world and it's World of Darkness, right? But it's not like a mega city with all these places. Like, if you're in Chinatown,
mega city. Yeah.
If you're in this hypothetical
it's like
Chinatown,
a district. Yeah.
You're going to be near all of the other stuff that you've done in Chinatown.
7 blocks max, maybe.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, stuff like that. So you find yourself on the docks, and he says, "Okay, so here's the thing. We're gonna have to try. You are not mortal man possessed of mortal ghost, Typical exorcism is what that is. That's what we usually encounter. So we're going to have to try all sorts of things. And so I hope you're be open-minded. If first thing don't work, don't get mad, don't throw thing, with super strength, don't bend, right? Okay?
You try and kill me, the beast is going to have something to say about it.
Well, okay, but we are trying to kill you, aren't we? Kind of? Roundabout?
I'm just saying.
Right, I know. We're just trying to exorcise beast, which I guess might also make it mad.
Imagine me as a diabetic without insulin who could break your face on a good day.
Right. Okay. Well, look, I'm just saying, please don't kill us. We're trying to help. All right. Apparently, I'm not just going to get you to agree to that. Anyway,
I'll do what I can, but
we go into this place, and it looks sort of like to describe it, it's like it's one of those buildings that it's on the shore, but the water actually goes into it, and like for fishing boats to come in and out.
okay, yeah, it's like a yeah, I know what you mean. It's like a
Only
barn, but for a boat.
right, it's like a barn, but for a boat. And also, an important distinction here is that like you're at the docks, and there's a lot of places that are like commercial, and this seems very like in Jaws when they go find the guy who is the private guy,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
and he's the shark hunter, and he's just owns his own little shack or whatever. Like this is definitely someone's
Rent controlled before the region got more
right,
lucrative.
exactly,
Yeah.
right. Have you ever seen a shark's eyes?
We're gonna need a bigger boat.
And you get in, and there is a ship, like there is a fishing boat in there, and there's all sorts of I'm gonna go on like say like sea-based charms, charms that look very sea-like in their nature,
Serpents and
shells and
like whatever the two fit Pisces and stuff like that. Like
anyway, the point is that this place looks like a superstitious fisherman's house.
okay,
And the fishing boat is one of those fishing boats that's large enough to like go out on a fishing trip and sleep in it and stuff.
it's a houseboat. Yeah.
Yeah, well, a little bit. And he says, "Yeah, we friend in boat. We go in boat. Yeah,
I just follow.
yeah. Hello, knock knock." And old Chinese man like goes up onto all the rigging and walks onto the boat. And another Asian man comes out, and he's much younger, not an old dude like this guy. And you know they hug in a very masculine way, and
Back
you know
slaps.
shake. Yeah, back slaps. There's a very respectful bow between them, like, oh yeah, it's two people respecting other masters of things. They speak in some Chinese for a little while. There is some Chinese talking, and then he points to you. And then the younger fellow walks up to you and says, "Hi."
Hi.
So I just want to get this clear. My friend says that you're possessed by a demon or something like that, and you've basically kidnapped him and taken him hostage until he helps you out. Yeah? Just want to be clear about that.
That's the gist.
All right. Well, you know, if I had troubles, I'd go pretty far for him too. I don't blame you, you know, necessarily. We're gonna try some stuff. I exercise ghosts all the time. Gonna be upfront with you right away, though. I'm not picking up the usual shit that I'd pick up from somebody who's possessed. But you know, we can try. We can try this stuff. See if we get any results.
All right.
Come below. Well, no. So I got sort of like a. It's a tank. You usually fill with seawater to keep fish so they don't spoil. But mine's all empty out, and it's got all my weird shit and sigils and stuff in it. So why don't you come on down?
Yeah, I'll go down.
This is so like there's a hatch on the boat, and it leads to sort of the hull, and you could fill this with like a lot of fish, right? But it's empty, and there's all sorts of like candles and sigils and just exactly like he says. So he's got like all these scrolls and books as well off to one side. And he's also still just wearing like a it's the Gordon's fisherman type outfit.
Sure.
But like he's like, so you see the Gordon's Fisherman like with a ancient scroll, and he's like reading it, trying to figure stuff out. It's like, all right, let's start with the basics. There's I assume that you have eyes that work in your head, and you can see that like all this shit is sort of centered around this middle circle. If you could just stand or sit in roughly the center, we'll get started. We'll do the basics.
Just a word of advice. I have put my hand through people before, so...
I'm not too worried about that. Try not to hurt the old guy. In fact, actually, he's not helping, and he starts speaking some Chinese to the older man. And then the older man comes to you and says, I have gotten you here. I'm not going to leave, but he says I should, get off the boat. So, in case that I'm not really helping, can I just go, get coffee in his kitchen?
Do me a favor. Take the dog.
Oh, okay. Yeah, sure, no problem.
And if we're successful here, his name is Gambit. He likes to eat my blood.
Well, there won't be any of that left around, but I'm sure we can figure something out. Okay, come on. Here, Fido. And Gambit sort of just looks at you like, what the fuck is this guy doing?
I just say, go with him.
Yeah. All right. Like, he does a dog shrug. Yeah, and then just sort of goes. And they get off the boat. And so this guy is sort of reading some more scrolls, blah, blah, blah. He's like, all right, we're going to start with a really basic exorcism. I don't expect the first one to work. Don't get mad. We're just trying to see what kind of reaction we get to figure out what direction to head in, all right? All right?
I just, give him the, sure, go ahead, sort of hand wave.
So he's got these candles that are set up in, mystical alignment with the circle.
Is that
right?
really necessary?
You want me to fucking do my job or not?
All right.
You gonna fucking question it, Mr. I'm a fucking demon vampire thing? Jesus Christ. So he sort of gives a wave of his hand. And when he does it, just to really drive home the point that this guy's not a sham artist, all of the candles go from being normal candles to being lit with green flame.
Okay, and how do I react to something like that?
Fine. I mean, how do you react to it? You react however you would react to it.
I mean, there is, Rorschach, whatever it is.
Right. These candles are far enough away, and they're candles. The sudden change is a little startling, but also I'm going to go out on a limb. I'm going to just sort of like do you the solid of being like, you came here to try and banish your own beast. I think you've been on edge with your beast the whole time, which means it doesn't catch you off guard.
Okay,
right?
Fair.
So you're like, you're sort of braced this whole time, so you don't just freak out when you see a candle.
Yeah. It's like, oh, so you must be like one of those wizards then.
I don't call myself a wizard, if that's what you say. Don't know anybody who is a wizard.
What was the place that they lived in then?
The cemetery? What was it? It was a specific cemetery in a specific part of town.
And then I just turned back and I was like, then you should probably stay out of blah, blah, blah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, that cemetery. Yeah. Well, so, those of us who can do a thing or two, we know about that place. Yeah, I don't go there. You're right. You're absolutely right.
Hyde Park, was it? Inglewood. It was Inglewood. Yeah, that's
Inglewood Cemetery. Thank you. I have the notes, but I don't have them in front of me, so I didn't want to go off just to answer that question. So the candles all turn green, and he just sort of like he sort of sits at the edge of the circle, like interacting with it a little bit. And you can't really tell if anything's happening. He sort of like trances a little bit. He sort of loses the picture. Like he closes his eyes. He's sort of meditating for a second. And after a little bit of time, the candles all turn back to a normal color, and he sort of gets up and he's like, "All right, that didn't work. We didn't think it was going to work. That's fine, but I don't know. I learned some things. Let me just consult my repository of information for a second. I'd offer you coffee or something, but you don't drink it, so."
Oh, you know that much, do you?
Look, I know you're a vampire. I mean, the Kuijin have a bit of propaganda. Like, he's sort of saying this as he reads the scrolls. Kuijin have a bit of propaganda out on you guys. They call you demons. That's what my friend called you, but I know that that's not the case. You're a vampire. Whatever. You drink blood. That's about as much as I know.
Okay.
You're trying to die. I didn't even know that you couldn't die, or at least couldn't kill yourself, till my friend told me on the phone. That's a brand new thing.
Yeah, well, you see, when we don't have a choice, which I didn't and a couple of my friends didn't, sometimes it doesn't sit well.
Right, so it's kind of like movies. Vampires turn other people into vampires.
Well, normally it's a willing thing. Normally they're groomed for it.
Interesting. So, some vampire schmuck breaks into your house, just like you broke into my friend's house, turns you into a vampire against your will, and now you're breaking into other people's houses, making them try and cure you against their will. That's fine. It's a cycle of abuse. Whatever.
Well, technically, I helped your friend move what he needed to move to the right place. I see it as a favor owed.
Interesting. I can tell you my friend doesn't see it the same way. Whatever. As my friend put it, the goal is to kill you, so it's not, you're sort of being a dick to us, but we're trying to kill you. So, like, I don't know. It sort of evens out in a weird way.
You tend to be a bit of a dick when, life was taken, and
yeah. We all have our sob stories. Let me get back to reading my thing.
Damien's kind of taken aback a little bit by that. It's like, fair point, I guess.
And he's just sort of like reading the scroll, and he's doing some more scroll stuff. All right. Time passes, by the way. All right. So, let's see here. So first things first, you might be distressed to know that, or you might not give a shit. As far as I can figure, you don't really have what I would call a spirit or a soul in you at all.
Yeah, I'm a walking corpse.
Yeah. I figure you're kind of on par with that already. So, basic exorcism is usually preserve the correct spirit, banish the incorrect spirit. None of that's going on in you at all.
Just go nuclear on me. It's all right.
Right. Well, the thing is, I can go nuclear as much as I want with you and ghost spirit stuff, but it's not gonna. You don't have anything in you, so there's not a bad spirit in there at all. I don't know about demons and stuff actually. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna move into curse breaking. I'm gonna see if I can break a curse. See if it's more of a curse. You know what I'm saying? Are you just trying to keep you apprised of the situation? I'm just a doctor here telling you he's about to stick his finger in your butt. I'm still going to stick my finger in your butt. I just want to let you know beforehand, because it'd be rude not to. I'm not actually sticking my finger in your butt. That's a metaphor.
I just sort of look at him just like, okay.
All right. So he starts moving candles and reconfiguring the circle.
Mm-hmm.
And after a while, it's in a different configuration. It has, a different look to it. And then he goes back to his sort of position at the apex of the circle and is like, all right, this one might feel a little different. You might actually feel something this time. Try and stay calm. Try not to panic. And he waves his hands. The candles in their new configuration turn green again. And this time you do sort of feel like a pressure change in the air.
Can I even feel pressure? Do I even have like eardrums anymore?
You still feel things. Yeah,
Okay.
You can still feel things.
Okay.
Otherwise, you would just like if every part of your body shut off, you would be blind, deaf. You wouldn't be able to move. Like
Sure.
A certain amount of stuff still works. I'm going to need you to make a roll.
Okay, this is interesting.
I'm going to need you. No, not just a 1d10. I'm going to need you to make a. Let's see here. Right, okay. I'm going to need you to make a wits awareness roll.
Okay. Par for the course.
-1 success.
Mm-hmm.
So that is a botch, which is fine. As the air pressure around you changes a little bit, and maybe at first even you feel some optimism, some excitement, like, hey, this is some actual magic. I can feel it. Maybe it's going to do something.
There must have been some magic in that old silk hat I found.
Thank you.
Please don't be
guess.
Slytherin. Please don't be Slytherin. Anything but Slytherin.
Anything but Slytherin, you say? And just as the air pressure is changing, like your acute vampire senses suddenly become aware that like actually sort of sound and noise around you is deafening. Like even the lights are dimming from your perspective anyway. And you can hear Gambit barking in distress, which you might respond to if you weren't suddenly aware that you cannot move. Like you can't even breathe or talk. Your whole body is completely rigid. I mean, you can never breathe, but I mean, like you can't even like expand your chest outwards. Your whole body is held perfectly in place. And your you would definitely have heard this if you could hear things, but your mostly muted senses finally pick something up only once they actually move into the tank with you. But there's like a whole contingent of mooks who move in. Okay. And the exorcist sort of stands up, and like you can barely hear him. It sounds like it's a million miles away. You almost feel like you're falling asleep, which you haven't actually felt like in forever. Right? Because you just sort of conk out when you vampire sleep. And it's like, hey, I'm sorry, man, but the goal is to kill you anyway, right? So we're just gonna do it, huh? You know, everybody gets what they want. Best of luck on the other side. And the mooks are all very careful not to step in the circle, but they sort of like they start moving around the ship, and the exorcist is sort of gathering together his scrolls, because the mooks are just like setting up C4 everywhere. Like,
oh yeah, okay. I was like, I reckon you weren't to have the cojones to actually kill my character today. We'll see.
Yeah. So like they're like spooling out debt cord and fuse the hostage.
Dunk, dunk, dunk.
And they're just like attaching bricks of C4. And your senses are muted, but like based on the movement, it seems like they're probably also doing stuff like around the rest of the ship. And like the guy's just gathering up his stuff. You super botched the roll to resist being bound by this spell. So you're in a precarious situation.
I mean, it's weird, right? Like, to a degree, Damien wants to die, but like, you could see that maybe in this instance, my rolling represents the beast or something, right? You know, like the intangible force, or there's something that's supposed to be the thing that stops me from killing myself. I don't know. Weird, right?
Right. So what I'm gonna do is Damien is essentially incapacitated, and I could Deus Ex Machina an NPC in here to save you or something, or or toss the situation up. As it stands, Damien is super definitely going to die without the intervention of somebody else.
Real quickly, I just want to make sure that because the new Obtenebration 4 is let me just read. Okay.
So the chat's ahead of me already. Like, no matter what the power says, you're in a mystical field. So, I can pretty much say that you can't activate your power. Sure. Like if you hadn't completely botched, then we'd have some
wiggle
things
room.
Here.
Yeah.
Right. So what I'm going to do instead is we are going to provide some symmetry of this episode by allowing well, so here's the thing. You've both sort of had half the show, roughly at this point. I am totally willing to let one of you play Gambit.
I vote Lily.
Yeah, so I was going to ask Dave if it was okay for Lily to play Gambit because that way it makes it.
The thing is, though, if I play Gambit, I'm effectively playing against myself, and that's not something I want to do.
Right. So I wanted to see if you were cool with Lily playing Gambit here.
No, absolutely. Go for it. Yeah.
All right. So Lily, first of all, you're a dog.
Got it. But what about the game?
Wow. Okay. Well, that puts a weird tenor to our future friendship now.
Remember the time he called me a dog wreckage? Yeah, fucking.
And I was totally cool with it. Call me a dog again. Anyway, let's set up your character motivation, making you play two new characters twice a night. Gambit is a dog. Gambit is not. Dogs in World of Darkness are not natively as smart as, say, like a universe where all dogs secretly can communicate to each other and talk and are like smart, but they're still dogs. You know
So
what I mean?
They all
like
go to
Red
heaven?
Rover Charlie, basically. Yeah.
But he is now a ghoul dog, which means he is smarter than an average dog.
Smarter than your average dog.
Now, I wouldn't necessarily imbue yourself with characteristics of humanity, but I will go as far as to say this. You are capable. The master who saved you from a horrible, terrible life and made you smarter and stronger and faster is in danger. You know it intrinsically. So what happened from your perspective was that he told you to go off with this old man, which you did. The old man went to a human room where humans keep their food and made food. You don't really have much interest in that anymore. You definitely prefer blood, though you can still eat because you're a ghoul. Anyway, you were there, and like some other people showed up and put you on edge, and the old man was like, "Oh, don't worry, they're here to kill that horrible demon who has kidnapped you." And so, at that point, you're like growling and barking, unbeknownst to you.
Yeah.
Your master is.
This is getting pretty rough.
Unbeknownst to you, master is already bound in a thing. So you got to get all of these dog puns in right now. By the way, this is your only chance. Like this is your only chance for you to be the one to say the dog puns. So these guys, they just they go to the ship and they're clearly they're fucking with that thing. So you don't know.
But I know where he is, right?
Like you know where he is locally.
So I have a tail on him.
Mm-hmm. You can Jesus.
God, these puns are appalling.
Appalling. Yeah. Thank you. This episode should be called "Lily plays two brand new characters in one night and also makes bad puns."
Oh yeah,
I can see
the Google Analytics now for that.
Yeah, the Google Analytics for that would be great. So from the perspective of a dog, you don't know that your master is mystically bound, but you do know that these men are here to kill him, and they sort of have had free run of the ship, and your master hasn't, broken everything and killed everyone like he would normally do. So to some extent, your first concern might be that your master is dead. But as a ghoul, you have no thought of, oh, that means I can get away and I'm free or whatever. Like your only thought is, if there's any chance master is alive, I have to save him.
Right.
So doing your best to stay in character for a dog and with the knowledge that a dog has, because Dave's character really is in danger of dying here. And if you were a human, I think you'd have a very good chance of saving him. As a dog, I think it's a little dubious. So I definitely want to be sure that your efforts are in character for a dog as best as possible. And I won't, tantalizing rewards in the form of experience points can be got for properly role playing a dog here.
Got it. So what's the status of the door?
Which door?
Like the one that we came in through to get into this
kitchen
room.
All right, so here's what your a combination of skills are. Have you seen Air Bud? Everything.
None of those.
Everything that he is possible of doing, because you are also a golden retriever.
Got it.
Apparently the chat regrets their subscribing to the channel at this point.
I'm so sorry.
Keep it up.
You can play basketball.
Nothing in the rules that say you can't play basketball.
You can play baseball.
Right. Yeah. Well, all the sequels.
Yeah.
There's a hockey one, isn't there?
Yeah,
Is there a hockey one?
You can play hockey. Yep.
I also passed all these abilities on to my children.
Yeah, that's true.
Right, because they're buds.
Which all have separate individual
football,
stereotypical personalities.
So I think it's
Football.
well within your capable range of opening a simple pull-down door handle.
Right. So anyway, let me clarify again. So the kitchen is part of this ship barn, right? And as it's a ship barn, and in Los Angeles where the weather never gets bad, like other than the doors that close to the ship barn, like the interior is all open to itself. So the kitchen is a room that is a kitchen. It has like a window and a door, but neither of them have any closing mechanism at all. So like it's all open space. It's there's rafters and it's a warehouse. But these are also bad men, and if you start doing things, obviously they have ways of hurting you, and they might do that. But at first, right, you are just a dog. Like literally none of them know or even have an inkling that you're a ghoul or a familiar or anything like that. So
So I look towards the exit, and then I start to whine and do little circles.
Got it. Great. Okay. Old man's like, yes. Okay. Yeah. You, bad time. But, my friend's already going to have his boat blown up, but he doesn't need shit on his floor too.
I like how, you're really giving the great gravitas to Damien Holland ending his own life by, assisted suicide here by making it dog shitting jokes on the floor. So,
I wouldn't have it any other way.
Huh. Life's just a bunch of grays.
When life gives you
wow, that one's fucking I don't think any you all need to catch up to that one. Dogs don't have color vision. That's the pun there. Anyway.
Life's a series of darker and lighter shades.
So, old man goes up to one of the mooks and is speaks in Chinese. Now, as a dog, you don't speak English at all. But as a ghoul, you have picked up on human communication. So, but not Chinese human communication.
Darn it.
You don't get the magic power of being able to understand all languages. So anyway, there's some back and forth between him and the mook, but eventually he's like, okay, come on, dog, we go outside, you take your shit. And he will take you, he will be guiding you through the mooks and out the door to outside the entire warehouse. Mm-hmm. Not sure exactly how that helps you. Outside, basically, standard mook procedure, all these sedans have shown up and still have their lights on pointing at the warehouse. They do the thing. Right.
So I start
peeing.
Wait.
Peeing's involved in the plan. Lily says peeing is definitely involved.
Well, so where is the boat in relation to me now?
Inside the warehouse.
Oh, it's back inside.
Right. Yes.
Oh.
You're trying to get closer to the boat?
I like the idea that he's I gotta save Master, but I also need to urinate. He doesn't like it when I pee on the floor. I will urinate first.
I thought the boat was outside, not inside where I was.
So the warehouse is a barn for ships, and it was docked inside.
Ship barn.
Okay.
Right.
Got it.
Right. It's one of those I forget exactly what it's called. That's why we call it a ship
dry
barn.
dock.
Except for it's not a dry dock, but something like that.
It's a small kind of dry dock.
I think it's a sloop.
Maybe. No, that's a type of ship.
No, I think
a sloop is a type of shit.
Is it a schooner?
That's also a type. We're not going to... Look, we have 20 minutes left to see whether or not Dave dies. So if we could... at least keep it to dog puns, because this is your only opportunity. So let's not get into ship puns. Now, I'm willing to walk it back if you didn't actually want to go outside. Again, you're capable of...
yeah. I don't want to flee.
You're capable of just moving into the warehouse, right? There's no door to stop you. But as soon as you get suspicious, you might be drawing negative ire. They're
going to start to sniff me out.
Mm-hmm.
So I think I'm just gonna dog around and just start dog dog caught a scent of something, so I was just gonna like oh yeah, just walking around, sniffing the floor, like looking up,
Right.
and then sniff more.
Inconspicuous dog.
Yeah, just dogging around as dogs do.
Right. Okay. You can you get a better view of the mooks. They're carting human stuff onto the ship. That can't be good. Like, because why are they taking so much time with this? Yeah. This is good for you. You're a dog. You have really great hearing. All the things that they're carting onto the ship, like they beep. Now, you don't like alarm clocks.
Right.
But you haven't really encountered them since you've been with Master. So they're carting on a bunch of alarm clocks onto the ship for some reason.
Yeah,
and you don't like alarm clocks. So Master probably doesn't like alarm clocks.
Exactly.
Right.
So
I think it's a goddamn shame we've lost like 10 viewers on this because this is the best sequence I've done in forever. It's probably just getting late.
So yeah, I think I just like sniffing around, dogging around. Could I just make a break for like where I saw him going into the boat? Is that like a straight path for me at this point?
So what it would be is like you are in the sort of land part of the warehouse.
Mm-hmm.
There is steps down to the dock, which is over water, right? And is like a normal dock, only inside. Mm-hmm. And then a ramp up from that onto the boat. So it would be down some steps, up a ramp, onto the boat, and then down into a hatch where your master was.
It's a hatch.
Yeah, and that's a bit of a problem because, like, it wasn't super easy for you as a dog to get back out of the hatch. Wasn't too hard because you had a human helping you and you were supposed to, right? But that is a potential one-way, like, if you go into the hatch, you might get stuck down there, or at least, if things get dicey, it wouldn't be the best, like, you wouldn't have a good out. But, of course, you also don't, I will say, like, it doesn't, you certainly can't smell whether or not your master is still alive.
Right.
But you do still smell him from there. So he is still there.
Mm-hmm.
To whatever extent that is relevant to you.
I figured it appropriate to cuddle the dog during this moment.
I think it is appropriate as well.
So I don't have any weird abilities right now, right?
No.
Nothing magical yet. Like
yeah,
your stats are high. Your stats, like across the board, your physical stats and mental stats are much higher than average dog, which is good. Also, your ability to take damage is very high compared to regular dog. But as far as like actual magic shadow powers,
okay,
not yet. This might be an opportunity if things go well to awaken something. Maybe perhaps earlier than it otherwise would.
Yeah.
But I won't say yet that dog is aware of any powers.
Right. Yeah. Just with that hatch, I'm not sure.
Okay. Well, so let's take a step back from this. Let's metagame a little bit because we are trying to role play a dog. So it's fine if we do a little bit of metagaming here. The goal is to rescue Master. There are too many men for dog to kill.
Right.
Master has to kill all these men. You don't know why Master isn't killing men. So you do need to, like, you are in a position where you need to find facts. You need to learn some dog facts.
Right.
Now, diving in there is a way to learn dog facts. But, and that is what Master would do. Master would just dive in there. The people Master hangs out with, would maybe be sneakier about it. There's some guy who's really nice and always gives you dog treats who just sort of like disappears all the time and he's super stealthy and sneaky, and you feel like that would be a good idea right now. Roll me a 1d10.
Okay.
I think the name of the episode is going to be Dog Facts.
Oh.
Ooh. So I was going to throw you a bone. But instead, I'm going. You failed that dice roll, so I'm not going to give you that. Like I was going to basically.
I mean, you could basically give him a licking with that one. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Just no. That was just a roll for. Do you get like a hint? I'm not giving you this hint, but if you still think of it on your own, you can still do it. Of course, that's not helpful. Dave, feel free to also brainstorm with Lily because you're both player characters right now. You're both on the same side, and Liz is trying to role play a dog. So I'm a little more okay with.
Would Gambit have ever smelled explosives before?
No.
Well, no. Hold on a second. Don't get ahead of me. I'm going to take a mental accounting of the situations that Gambit has been in.
I mean, unless the Cineators use the explosives.
They didn't in the encounter where Gambit was with you.
But he had an opportunity to run around that base by himself, basically.
Mm-hmm. But they didn't but the point is, having smelled explosives before doesn't teach the dog that explosives are explosives. You know what I'm saying? The dog has to have been present for explosives to be used.
Was he in the tunnel with us?
No, you didn't take him with on that, which is a shame because that would have been a definite for sure. What other times have things exploded? Amethyst used explosives, but again, dog wasn't there. You got the dog at that point. I don't recall any time when. Wait, well, okay. So you would have. Here's what I'll say. You don't know that they're explosives. You do know that they are weapons. And the reason why you know they are weapons is because when you were in the manse in the armory, they had a bunch of those. And also explosives smell very strong to a dog.
Mm-hmm.
So there was a bunch of those things in the place where the humans and vampires keep their weapons that they use to kill each other. So you can deduce that the explosives are weapons. You've just never seen them explode before.
Mm-hmm. Would I get the sense that if Master heard me, he would come out?
You barked, right? That was already part of Damien's scene. So you tried to bark to alert him when the mooks showed up and Master did nothing. So you would not get that sense. You would think that for some reason, like, I would say that it would be fine for you to hearken back to the time that you were locked in a kennel and assume something similar for Master, but not know the specifics. You know, these mooks are definitely, they've got weapons. They're going to where Master is. You still smell Master. They're bad guys. He said they're going to kill your Master. So this is all some sort of ploy to kill your Master.
Now Renan wants to cuddle. So he wants to he's like, up again.
Well, keep cuddling him then. We don't need you on the keyboard for a while, Dave.
Maybe, let's see. So if I go on the boat, the only thing is the hatch.
I mean, there is a whole boat. Like, it's a houseboat. So the hatch is where Master was, but there's more to the boat. They're putting a bunch of those alarm clocks on the deck. I mean, you can see that from here.
Could I... Is it like steady line of mooks that are carrying stuff, or is there like a break that I could like kind of try to get onto the boat without them noticing that I'm there?
You almost certainly couldn't get onto the boat the normal way that the mooks are. But getting onto the boat unseen is not impossible because it's a whole big complicated warehouse with rafters and all, and there's water, you know, the edge of the boat and all of that. Like,
oh, could I like try to do a hardcore parkour and like jump on some boxes and then hop onto the boat like from another thing?
Hardcore parkour is definitely an option. You can definitely attempt to maneuver around the warehouse. The question is, where are you going? What is your goal? Because those two things will definitely affect how likely it is to succeed. The more you're trying to accomplish, the harder it's going to be to do.
I think I'm just gonna I'll keep sniffing in like being a dog, and then when I like look and think that there's like a thing I can jump onto, and then a thing I can jump onto, and a thing like I've been doing like either like boxes or like cases of stuff or whatever, like just the warehouse things that I could jump onto, and I want to use that to get on like hop across the water onto the boat.
Okay, so goal is to be on the deck of the boat unseen.
Yeah.
All right, that's going to be a little bit like, so getting onto the boat, not the hard part. Being on the boat but having been unseen is going to be the difficult part. So I'm going to want you to roll me 2d10.
Okay.
Whereas you might have rolled more than that, being more conspicuous.
8 and 3.
One of those is a success. So you have one success. So I will say that you have definitely been able, you maneuver over to the far side, which doesn't have the ramp going up, and there's less mooks. There's a couple. But they're not particularly paying attention to a dog. And it helps that this is like wood, and so your little doggy nails don't clack as much as they would on maybe like concrete.
Right, it's like wet wood too, so
yeah, right. You know, it's not like lacquered wood, I guess is what I'm saying. You know, it's not like the floor of Dave's apartment.
Which you guys probably hear a lot.
Yeah, we hear that a lot. So you definitely make it onto the boat. I will say that you don't make it onto the, like, it's just not practical for you to make it onto the stern deck where the latch is. You're on the
I guess front. As long as I'm on the boat.
Right, you are physically on the boat. Okay, you're more like on the front of the boat, whereas you know, imagine.
So I think sorry. I want to sniff around and find these alarm clocks, and then when I find one, I want to like pick it up and try to like toss it over the boat and get it and like throw it into the water.
Okay. All right, interesting plan. I will need you to roll me another 2d10 to pick up an alarm clock and put it in the water unseen.
10 and 3.
That's going to be a big success. So you can pick up an alarm clock and put it into the water, but as you do, you notice that it is attached by a leash.
Damn it.
In fact, they're all attached by leashes.
Son of a bitch.
But with your exceptional success, I would let you bite through the leash and see that you can, in fact, bite through the leash.
Yeah.
And then it goes into the water. All right, it's in the water.
Okay.
When it hits the water, you note that although the sound of the beeping is lessened, it's totally still beeping in the water. Like, you know, you're a dog. You can hear the shit out of it. There's also some Chinese, Metal Gear style NPC, like, what was that? And you know, they come over and they look at the spot in the water where it dropped, but because there's no longer anything happening there, eventually the like little lightning bolts next to their head that show that they've been triggered start to fade, and then they walk away. Right? Yeah.
So I guess seeing that worked, or I guess could I just cut the leash on all of them?
So doing one is reasonable, but there are a bunch of mooks working with these alarm clocks and leashes, and they're setting it up all over the place, and you don't know why either. You could do it, but like the idea of I put each alarm clock in the water, that's just not going to be doable, like without getting spotted.
Okay.
And since as a dog, you don't know that, like, oh, you know, we've determined that you don't know these things are going to explode, which is a real shame as far as a piece of information.
Right. I just know that they're bad. So
right.
Me getting them out of there
it's what the bad men are doing, right? Like the bad men are doing the bad thing. You know what? You really need to figure out what's going on, Master. Roll me 2d10 to like peek in the hatch without getting caught.
Oh, okay. I can. Okay. 6 and 4.
6 is a success. We'll say. Right. So, you only get a very quick look. But Master is definitely kennelled. That's actually what's actually happening, which was your first thought anyway.
Right.
Other guy, the other Chinese guy from before, he's like carting all of these chew toys out of the tank, and like putting them like safely in the he's sort of going back and forth and getting them into like sedans and stuff. The mooks are putting alarm clocks all over the place, and Master is in like a weird circle of peanut butter, and also candles, which you don't like. I'm gonna assume you don't like candles, just cause.
Right.
I mean, they smell bad.
It's true. So I've seen people drive cars.
Yes. Totally.
Would
We've
I
been driven
assu-
in cards.
Would I assume that there's a place where you could drive this boat?
Didn't we do something with a boat? I don't think we've done something with a boat yet, but I'm gonna say, I'll say that the boat bobs up and down while the rest of everything else doesn't. And maybe on TV or something you've seen and boat. So the idea that this thing moves, that's within your ability to know.
Sure. Yeah, I think just the house part of the houseboat. I want to like go in there and start sniffing around. See if I can like find anything.
You guys keep this up. My dog just took a.
Great. Fantastic.
Yeah, it's not nice. So.
Oh. Just like, hey, come on.
All right, we have like 10 more minutes. I'm happy to leave it on a cliffhanger.
Okay.
Basically, when Dave gets back, this is going to be over. So,
okay, so yeah, do I go into like the houseboat part, the house part of the houseboat with like the rooms and like the where you would drive and stuff.
Sure.
I sniff around. Is there anything of note that I see?
There's definitely the wheel, like the wheel of a car. So that helps. But there is no jangly toy that starts the car. There's just a bunch of other like boring human levers and gizmos. You know what? This is quite the puzzle. I think I know what I want to do here.
Mm-hmm.
I think I want to cliffhanger this episode.
Okay.
And what I'll do is you and Dave will be allowed to come up. So Dave, we got a plan.
You want to drive the boat out of here?
Well, no. So here's the plan. The plan is we're going to cliffhanger this episode here. And you guys are the first scene of next time we do a show will be resolution of this. You guys will have a week to choose one plan for the dog that is a plan that the dog could come up with. And if it fails, it fails, and if it succeeds, it succeeds. But I think Lily's done a fantastic job so far. but very it's been very difficult and time consuming to try and put yourself in the mind of a dog. So giving you guys a little bit of wiggle room to come up with this plan over time, I think will benefit the scene. So next week, Gambit will attempt to save Damien's life. And also we know that Rodney met with your ex-wife at the Taste. So that'll be our cliffhangers for the next episode.
All right.
Outros.
Cool.
All right. Well, Lily, process of elimination. You're up first.
All right. Hey, everybody. I hope this was a fetching episode for you. I am Lily. I'm Lilypad Nebula on Twitch, Twitter, all the things. You can find me over there. I should be streaming more because I'm getting a newer computer that can actually handle the stuff. I tried doing some stuff this weekend, and like the games I want to play, I was testing OBS and it just wasn't working because the games, my computer is like 4 years old now. And so it's just not working, but
use your new computer for playing games. Use your old
right, yeah, that's
computer
my I think my new computer should be good enough to stream and play, and then I'll work out the details of using this one as the stream computer and the other one as just the game computer. So it should be all gravy.
Yeah, that's the best way of doing it.
And yeah, so should be doing that. No shows over at my channel for the next week or so. We got some stuff going on, but yeah, hopefully I'll have my new computer this week and be able to do some stuff with that. But yeah, thanks for hanging out with us. Hope it was fun. Definitely a different stretch away from the norm, which is a lot of fun. I like doing that thing where you just playing other characters and fitting other stuff into it, which is really cool. And yeah, have a great night. Thanks for hanging out.
Nice. And Wreckage, my man, what up?
Hi, everybody. Thanks for joining us for this, I would say jerry-rigged episode. Our other players were supposed to show up before the end. They didn't. That's fine. Going forward, we're going to be talking about some recent scheduling issues that the show has had. That's going to be behind the scenes. You won't hear anything about that until later. Hopefully, we're going to come up with some sort of solution that allows this show to go up with more consistency, even though some people have started to have some conflicts on Mondays. Now, hopefully what this means in a cosmic sense is that the curse that was keeping Dead Man's Crest from going up has passed on to LA at Night. And so Dead Man's Crest this week on Wednesday will go up, hopefully, is what that means. It'll go up without issue. If they both aren't going up, then obviously the curse is just spread like an infection, as opposed to like a curse that you pass onto other things. If it does go up, please join us there on Wednesday for pirate stuff. Sorry, Lily, for putting you on the spot for being a dog.
No, it was fun.
No, I know, it is fun, and it was one of my favorite sequences, but it slowed down because it's really hard. And so I definitely think that it's a great idea that we give this some time. And the terminus for this whole thing will be next week. Between the two of you, you can figure out the one plan that Gambit can come up with and attempt, given the information that he has. And I think that's a lot better than having some other, like a couple of people in the chat suggested, oh, this NPC could show up and that NPC could show up. And yeah, they could. I could do that. But I like this a lot more. It puts your fate into your own hands, or it puts the fate of a PC in the hands of PCs, which I think is much better. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed it. Questions and comments, feel free to contact me about how you like the episode or not, or whatever. And Dave, what else is going on in Die Party?
So tomorrow we should be back with Abyss. I mean, I've asked the players and they seem all on board, so hopefully that's the case. And going forward, I think the rest of the week will be fine. If you missed the first episode of Academy Tales, go check that out on YouTube. It's fucking great. It's like Harry Potter meets Mouse Guard, which is interesting. It's kind of like... What was that?
or as I would rather say, it's Harry Potter meets Redwall.
Sure, but
Don't worry about it.
Yeah, but yeah, it's basically teenage mice going through high school, but military academy instead.
Right, yeah.
So yeah, that's pretty much what we got going on. We will have a daily stream as always in a couple of hours after this. But yeah, that's pretty much it, guys. Thank you very much for watching. We will be back soon. But maybe next time we'll see the fate of everything. All right.
Yeah.
Good night.
Night.